Yes, thank you for clicking on this video. This is Sith Kills, otherwise known as Nick. Today we're going to be talking about House of Dragon, episode 6. And it's going to be a spoiler review, so just give you a forewarning. But I was a little afraid of this episode because I knew that they were going to change the actors. And I'm growing a little attached to, the actress who plays Rhaenyra. And I thought the actress that plays Alicent did a really good job. And I was afraid of a little bit of how the dynamics of those two actors and, how they would be with, the actors that stayed, and if that dynamic and relationship would still, be believable even with different people. Hopefully that made sense. But I was afraid that it would kind of lose, like the show would kind of lose its charm. And it's a little bit of a risky move. I mean, to change two of the primary characters in the show. But I gotta say, I thought they did a really good job. The actress that took Millie Alcock's position of Rhaenyra, I think her name is Emma Darcy. I thought she did a really good job. And the person that played Allison, which was Olivia Cook, she was in one of my you know favorite movies. I don't know if it's favorite movies, but I just really enjoy it. Is Ready Player One. So I thought she did a really, really good job as well. So we'll kind of, we won't do like a play by play. I think we'll just talk about characters and, talk about what happened to the characters. There is a lot of stuff that happened in this episode. I'm obviously probably not going to be covering everything because I'm just going to be talking based on memory. But we'll talk about like couples. So we'll talk about Rhaenyra and her new, I guess, boyfriend on the side, which is who's the character? Sir Harwin Strong. And then also the character that plays Valerian's son, who she got married to. I forgot who his name was. Well, we'll talk about them. The episode starts off actually with Rhaenyra having, I guess, her third um, child, and it happens to be another boy. And this scene was a little bit rough because Alicent calls her like the second she has her baby that just got born. Second she has him in his arms, Alicent's already summoning her. And, obviously she's upset about it, but I mean, the pain that she must have, been going through at that moment, and to kind of just say, screw it, I'm going to go ahead and, do this, even though it's ludicrous and it's absurd that, she would even request this right after birth. But she just, trucks on. She has a scene where she's talking to her husband. I forget his first name, but we'll just call him Valerian. Um, I guess the king to be, I guess. And they're discussing, and he's talking to her, and she asked her if it was painful, and mentions that he took a lance in the shoulder once. I thought that was kind of stupid for him to even mention that, you know, as like, saying somebody with a gunshot wound and telling him, hey, last week I had a splinter. You know what I mean? So it was just a little bit funny. They're walking, over to Queen Alicent, and they have to go up these flight of stairs. And it kind of reminded me, to be honest, of when Cersei Lannister was walking the streets of King's Landing, you know, with that, word being said, shame, shame. But it wasn't like that, obviously, exactly. But it did remind me of it a little bit because, I mean, she just gave birth. It's, a little bit embarrassing, obviously, just to be walking out in public with your freshly born baby in that much pain. So, that was a little bit ruthless of Allison. And she has gotten a lot more ruthless this episode when we talk about her. But yeah, Rhaenyra, she trucks through that, goes through that pain, and then goes into the room where, the king is there, and, he enters the room and meets the new baby, and Alicent, um, grabs the baby and, you know, kind of plays it a little bit, and then walks up to the would-be king Valerion and tells him that maybe, you should keep trying. Maybe one day the baby will look like you. I was just like, damn, that was pretty ruthless. Um, apparently all the kids, they all have brown hair, like very deep brown hair, just like the hair of the knight that's like watching over them, which is Sir Harwin Strong, and he's also the son of the Hand of the King. So, I was kind of thinking in my head, I was just like, okay, did Rhaenyra, did she choose Harwin Strong because his dad was the Hand of the King, and that way, kind of gain control of the Hand, which is the closest relationship to the father. So I kind of wonder if that was what was happening during that 10 years, because this is 10 years now in the future. So, I thought that was pretty ruthless, but obviously the baby doesn't quite look like Valerian. Doesn't really have any of the features, obviously. So she pretty much blatantly points that out. And, later on, we find out that Alicent is kind of pushing the king, like to find out why the kids, I guess, don't look like Valerian at all. And I mean, she knows the king knows, but he's not trying to, stir any waves or anything. He's not really trying to cause any problems because obviously he would know that that's pretty much going to be the death, of his daughter, in a lot of cases, and kind of threaten her challenge for rule, and pretty much tells her to kind of drop it. And Alicent, obviously, you can tell she's been kind of holding this back in this scene because, she even says that, she's been keeping quiet, but having three illegitimate sons is now an insult. Maybe having one is a mistake, but now having three is an insult not only to the crown, but to you as a father, and then also to the family. And I mean, in a lot of ways, she's not wrong. I kind of, Alicent, in her situation, it's kind of compelling in a way because I mean, she's not wrong. I mean, like a lot of things that, she did out of duty. She didn't want to do it, but she did it anyways because she thought it was what was the right thing to do. And she sees Rhaenyra pretty much doing whatever she wants. So I think a lot of that is kind of jealousy. But then, you also see, King Valerian, oh, sorry, King Valerian, King Viserys, he's just deteriorating. When he enters into the room, he doesn't have his arm anymore, and I kind of feel for the guy. I mean, I like this character a lot. He's just really trying to do what's right, and he's in the middle of two, you know, strong-minded women, and basically going at it. I would imagine every single day since they're in the King's Council, and you kind of feel for the guy. Kind of feel sorry for him. He's just trying to do what's right. You know, but yeah, I mean, we also get a scene with um Kristen. I think it's Kristen, right? Yeah, Kristen the Knight, who tried to kill himself the last episode, and Alicent stopped him. But I guess now he's working closely with Alicent, like I guess protecting her. One of the um maybe city guards. I don't think he's King's guard, but he's one of the city guards, I think. And he's also training, the princes, and you get a scene of that later on. And he's a little bit maniacal in this episode, to be honest. Like you can tell that everything that happened with him and Rhaenyra is still bothering him today. He even calls her a c word in the middle of the episode, and then Alicent, which I kind of was confused why she would be upset at that. She was kind of upset, so you got to think that maybe in a way she still kind of has feelings for Alicent as a friend, still kind of cares for her maybe, but then I guess in this scene at least it tells me that none of her actions say that though. But Sir Kristen, he actually kind of gets under the skin of Sir Harwin later on, almost I guess planned, and he gets him to kind of go after him, and he basically gets him expelled as one of the Kingsguard. And later on, him and his father, the Hand of the King, because of him getting into that fight and being dishonored, he tries to resign with King Valeris, and King Valeris does not accept it. He can't tell him exactly why he's resigning, and since he can't tell him the reason why, he's like, you know what? Since you can't tell me the reason why, then I don't take your resignation. He was like, okay, fine. If you don't take my resignation, then I'm gonna have to request that you let me take my son to Harrenhal, where he's gonna take his place as Lord. And it sucks because I kind of liked Harwin Strong, and then I obviously liked the Hand of the King. They seemed like honorable men that's in a bad situation. I don't know the history between Harwin Strong and Rhaenyra or how they became to be together. If it was like more of a political thing, if maybe his father kind of pushed his son into it. We don't know. It jumps so much time in the future that I guess that's left to us to figure out. But we don't get them anymore because they get burned. We find out later on in the episode that they are killed, and they're killed by like a sinister character who happens to be the son of the Hand of the King, which is Lionel Strong. I forgot what his name was, but to be honest, he kind of stole the scene at the end of the episode because he had this little dialogue where he was, laying out what he did to Alicent, and Alicent obviously was a little upset because she said she didn't wish for this, even though she kind of did. He took it as her kind of wanting this to happen, out of the blue, kind of like an accident kind of thing, or saying, wouldn't it be nice if her, father was the Hand of the King? He made a plan to get rid of his own father and his own brother, just basically out of a favor he thought he was doing for Alicent. And you get an earlier scene where they're talking and having either lunch or dinner or whatever, and he mentions that how can his father make you know decisions with integrity if his morals is compromised because of his son's relationship with Rhaenyra. And it's kind of true. He even tries to resign from that point, but out of his love for his son, he does not say anything about it. But he kind of reminds me of a character kind of like Littlefinger, and a Littlefinger and Cersei, because he literally killed his father and brother and didn't even feel remorse at all about it. Like, he was pretty happy with himself, and the actor did a really good job because he did play himself to be kind of evil. But I did enjoy that scene at the end. It was a great way to end the episode. But we also get some of Daemon this episode, and his wife, which is I think Lana. I want to say Lana Valerian, and they have two children now, and we get introduced to all the kids, and I think the episode really does a good job on introducing all the kids now, even though they're so much older. A lot of them weren't born obviously before the last episode, but I thought the show did a good job introducing them. But Damon has two daughters, and his wife is pregnant, and I guess they're traveling the world, and they're in Essos, I think. could be wrong, but they're not in King's Landing or even near it. And they're enjoying the good life. They're getting pampered, offered to stay there at a permanent estate where they'll have a lordship and they can rule as long as, you know, Essos, I guess, can use their dragons in, times of need. And Damon is, very, very much entertaining the idea. And his wife is wanting to go home. She's been away from home too long. She mentions in the scene that she's basically homesick and that she wants to go back. And Damon kind of stops her from talking and tells, I guess, would be the Lord, that he'll entertain the idea and proposal and he'll basically get back to him. But the wife, later on in the scene mentions to Damon again that she wants to be able to, have raise the babies where she's been raised, raise her kids were, in Dragonstone or in, at least near where she's grown up. And, basically is homesick. And Damon kind of just shrugs her off with just a facial expression, which, Matt Smith does an excellent job in this episode. But, it's very sad though, because she has a complicated pregnancy and she goes out because the doctor, basically gives Damon the same, decision that his brother had to make when his former wife was, pregnant and they had complications. The doctor told Damon that, we can take the baby out. It's no guarantee that the baby will be alive, but it would definitely kill the mother. And she overheard and she went out without, saying anything, because she mentions early on that she doesn't want to die as like a fat lord or whatever. She wants to die, as a dragon warrior or something like that. So it was kind of I guess, a foresight to what's ultimately going to happen to her. And she walks outside, and the dragon, I mean, she says Dracarys, multiple times. And the dragon's kind of looking at her confused, like, I'm not gonna kill you. Like, I love you. You kind of see it in his face, like he's very confused. But then he sees her in pain. Like, at least you see that he sees her in pain, and then kind of understands why she's asking him to do this. I guess, I guess he understands pain. But I enjoyed the scene. It was very, sweet to, to see the type of relationship the dragon has with its owner. And yeah, it's very touching. The dragon, after very reluctantly waiting, ultimately, sets fire on her. Damon runs out and is very upset, obviously. But we get a scene later on with him on the roof, with his two daughters, kind of walking away as they're, very sad. So I don't know what's going to be happening with Damon in the next episode. I mean, you would assume he would be going back to King's Landing. King Viserys does not have much time left. I mean, he's every episode. He's just. I'm surprised he's still around, to be honest. Like, I'm glad he's still around because I enjoy his character, but health wise, he does not seem good. And we get a little bit of a glimpse of him alone sitting in a chair and he's looking at a rat. And I wonder if that's going to play into anything like later on where he gets sick from some type of disease because of the rats, or that's some type of metaphor where, somebody's going to be ratting out the secret of his daughter, Rhaenyra. But yeah, I don't know. It's crazy to kind of think about. But the kids, all the princes that we get introduced to this in this season, I don't know any of their names, but the oldest one, you kind of you get the suspicion that Allison is not a good parent, just because she has this scene with her daughter where she just tries to comfort her by putting a hand on her shoulder because she's talking about something that maybe she's not going to get a dragon or something. I don't know. I forgot, but it's something that seems like Allison wanted to comfort her about, but she kind of shrugs away like, would like how a kid would if the kid has been abused, um, like she's Allison has hurt her, in some way, or maybe, she has been hurt somehow or abused somehow, and she's traumatized. So I wonder why they, showed us so blatantly in that scene and where that's gonna go. But I hope she's okay. She seems like a sweet kid, but hopefully nothing too bad happened. God knows what happened to Sansa. I almost forgot her name, Sansa Stark, in Game of Thrones. So hopefully nothing like that happened to her. And you also get this scene where the oldest son is out this window and he's going on town himself, just looking at the city. And his mom walks in, and almost like, while he's talking to her, while she's talking to him, I should say, she kind of grabs him, like forcefully, and tells him basically, wake up, you're almost a man, like to be this naive, and tells her that he should be scared about Rhaenyra's, lineage, and that he should be more involved. But yeah, I mean, it's almost like she's maybe been hitting the kids. Um, I don't know. Hopefully not, but she's does seem very physical with them. So I wonder where they're going with that. But as far as the younger son of the king, he's like getting picked on. The rest of the kids, basically make fun of him, saying that he doesn't have a dragon yet, and they fix up this pig and pretend it's a dragon and let him know it's his dragon now. So I don't know why they have animosity. Maybe it's just because he's the youngest brother, but the other two younger kids of Rhaenyra seem a lot younger than this kid. So I wonder, because like I said, a lot of time has passed, so they're trying to fit so much things that we missed into this one episode, and I think they did a fairly good job. Like every single minute of this episode was not wasted, and it definitely was entertaining. The dialogue was on point. I mean, even the facial reactions between the actors, like even some dialogue was not said, but you can tell just by the reactions of the faces what they mean and what their intentions are. So I mean, it's just a really great episode. But the son who killed, his father and brother, tells Alicent, and I know I mentioned this, but that he's expecting, like a reward or whatever. So I'm wondering if she's gonna make him like some type of council member in that reward, or what's gonna happen there. So it's definitely piqued my interest. This, I think, in my opinion, this was definitely another strong episode. We didn't get to see the father Valerian. I think his name was Corlys. We didn't get to see him, so what he's up to. I mean, obviously, we'd probably be able to see him next episode, I would assume, since his daughter has passed. We gotta assume Daemon's gonna be coming back to King's Landing now. Rhaenyra, I forgot to mention, she goes back to Dragonstone, and she's pretty much, I think, trying to forget about Harwin now. She's trying to move on. So, I mean, since he's going back to Harrenhal, I mean, she doesn't know at this point that he's dead yet, but she's going back to Dragonstone and letting her husband bring his boyfriend. So, in telling her husband, basically, even though those kids are not his, that these are his. So she's kind of doubling down on, like, hey, like trying to make him realize that this is his kids, even though they're not. Um, Trying to gain his favor, I guess. And even in one scene, basically orders him to at first stay in King's Landing, and then tells, like, I mean, basically order him around. So I wonder how much more, ordering he's going to take. If there's going to be a boiling point for him. And then also, obviously, since animosity is brewing so heavily, and since the Hand the King is now dead, and we would assume Alicent's father is going to become Hand again. So what's going to happen? Obviously we know there's going to be some type of major battle soon between factions, but we see it kind of brewing, and it's interesting how it's brewing. Like I said, unlike Rings of Power, where it just feels like it's a chore to watch. This I've watched twice already, and like I said, each time I watch it, I pick up something, and uh, both times I watch it, I enjoyed it. So, yeah, I would say that this is definitely another good episode. If I forgot to mention anything, I apologize, but that's pretty much what I remember with the characters. Like I said, it was definitely a lot of things happened out of like an hour and maybe 2 minutes episode. No minute was like unused well. Like it was all used very well, and I just really wish that the wife of Damon, because I did enjoy her character. She seemed like a good person. Like she just cares about her family, very strong too, like a warrior type woman too. So I kind of wish she was still around. And obviously the Hand of the King and then Harwin Strong, they're both good people and good characters, and now they're gone. So, it's basically following the same formula of Game of Thrones, getting rid of all the good moral, characters that are good people. The good people, nice guys are finishing last basically again, and basically getting murdered for trying to do what's right. But yeah, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm definitely excited to see what's going to happen in the next coming episodes. And I just hope they don't drop the ball, obviously, because I am still very much scarred for season 8 Game of Thrones. But I give this episode a very strong 8, even possibly 9, because I give them extra point for accomplishing what I thought would be very hard to do, which is introduce two brand new characters to replace main characters. So I thought they did a really well job with it, and the actors did a really good job. So yeah, I enjoyed it. But yeah, guys, I say that's it for me. Like I said, I give it an 8 or 9, and definitely excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see what's going to happen with Maggie Q, because we're already in episode 6, and she's on the credits. I see her here, but we haven't seen her yet. So I'm excited to see what character she's going to be portraying. But yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. If you guys did enjoy this video, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll catch you on the next one.